Welcome. LJ back here for a little live. For those of you interested in some of these topics on how we can tune ourselves in all ways. So I've been getting my perspectives, my understandings rocked and grown, which I love, and which really is part of a yoga lifestyle, to keep growing, keep learning, keep building that in as part of our lifestyle. Self-study, it's even one of the limbs of yoga. Svadhyaya. So, and especially then also as a person who's teaching yoga and writing about yoga and sharing about yoga and creating in the name of yoga, it's even more my pleasure and my job and part of my craft, right? To keep learning and growing and expanding my understanding of it all and how we can use what we learn and why we want to do what we're doing with our yoga of all sorts, and just the real power of it. And I am so excited. It's such an exciting time to be alive on the planet with what we're starting to understand, really. So that's where this is coming from, like my excitement on the leading edge of possibilities that we're realizing, whether it has to do with and so somehow I'm doing this learning is actually in having these conversations with some of the practitioners, some of my friends, some of the people I'm learning from and with, and sharing it with you as video. So I did that a couple times this week, and please find those if you want to check them out after this. They're on my Facebook page, and they're also in this yoga group, and I'm putting them on YouTube also. But yeah, getting to have conversations with people like Dr. Dawn Nago, who is a mind-body physical therapist who I have the pleasure to get to learn and work with. And then also with my teacher and friend, John Childers, who was one of my first yoga teachers, who I did my first yoga teacher training with. That was a year long, and who now has been teaching yoga for over 30 plus years and has an amazing understanding of really yoga in its true essence and deep levels, and especially like how we can be using it at this time. And I'm going to be doing more of those conversations, but I didn't even realize how much I would learn from having these conversations and how much it would spur my growth and understanding and realizations, and then even what I want to share with you here when I don't have them with me, right? So that's what I'm finding I want to do with you in this video, is share some of these ideas that have become even more powerful in my awareness through these conversations with Dr. Dawn and John. Dawn and John, I realize that's like kind of a fun combo. Yeah, but first one is, and this is something that a lot of people are talking about right now in a lot of different health, wellness communities and practices. This idea that we now understand that we store trauma, or even what we could call stress, in our bodies, and that this starts to manifest as various things we start to really see. And so some of the awareness with this for me has been that we've all got this going on, whether we've been through stuff that we think is traumatic or not, that we could just see, like, really for some of us, daily life can be like what we'd call traumatic, meaning like how we're experiencing it, how we're embodying ourselves through it all, and what that's feeling like for our bodies, right? And then when we do have feelings and emotions, often not expressing them, right? And how that often is going to get stored as emotions and such, and trauma. And then also, of course, that we now know, and this already leads us into one of these other concepts, this interbeingness that we realize is just true through yoga. Like, that's part of the yoga realization is, you hear that it's all one, or unity, like the waking up to, like, we're all connected and we can totally feel each other and even probably hear each other's thoughts if we're really paying attention, and feel each other's energy, right? And even pick up each other's energy. So that's going on too, which could be stored as like trauma, right? The trauma of drama, right? So this has been going on for all of us over the years. And so all of us probably have this built up stuff that we might call trauma in our bodies. And this is where we can realize the yogis have always taught us that it's all energy. So yes, we could also call it like stuck energy. And so like a lot of Eastern practices are about, including our yoga, is to address it all as energy, right? To do things to help free up stuck energy, to help things resolve and feel better, and knowing that's really the reason for a lot of our symptoms is even more of an Eastern understanding with health and the body. But now, yeah, it's coming back around to like Western medicine and research, even now talking about it as like stored in the fascia, like this layers of muscle tissue that are between our bones and joints and ligaments that are part of the deal. And so, yeah, that even the most scientific of practitioners would say yes, that it's all energy in a sense, because all atoms are even bound together by energy. And so then when we're storing these various things in even like our fascia, that this is going to manifest as various things. So then the solution becomes about attending to that, right? Working with that, freeing up the stuck energy, helping release the stored trauma and drama, right? And also, yeah, starting to build in ways to work with this fact of inner being, which sounds really beautiful, right? Like I had this awareness really yesterday when my teacher John he's really so bringing this forward, that that's the ultimate awareness, is how much we are all so connected and we do feel each other, and everything we are doing and feeling is affecting other people and being felt, and vice versa, right? And so, but now that we're aware of that, it's like, okay, we need to work with that so that we don't just feel way out of whack or burdened or weighed down or whatever we might call it, stressed, anxious, depressed, in pain, right? Maybe all of it, a lot of it is because of this stored trauma, right? That we've stored over the years, or even that every day potentially we could be storing more trauma, right? Just because of being in the world right now, even for some of us to be out in the world, it may be a little bit almost traumatic, right, to our senses. Like if there's a lot of loud sounds or seeing things that are troubling, right? So that too is where it becomes so important to see that our tuning that we do with our yoga and meditation is about that too. So tuning the energy aspects of it all. So doing things more like every day to keep going in, keep freeing up that stuck energy, keep releasing that stored trauma, whether it's from 20 years ago or yesterday, keep freeing up, the energy that we're holding that might be other people's energy, right? So doing that with our practices, which for sure is a lot of what the physical parts can be about. And that's where, real bonus, if you're doing some things daily that are really just right for you and your body, and even to be addressing, if you do have specific symptoms, which are talking about specific energy patterns, then even better to use a specific sequence with the poses to even more efficiently free that up and clear that up and let that go and change things. And the more you do it every day, the better. So that's where I've really seen a huge difference for myself and others, when versus kind of the traditional approach we think of with yoga poses is go to class when you can and do a super long class, right? And that should do it. But in my experience, that's the classes for community, and there's a lot of that goes on, and it's a lot of learning. But really, the power hugeness comes when we're doing something every day that's actually specific to us, and going after it that way is even better, I would vote. And then going to those classes for community, for learning, for new ideas, and then bringing it into your daily tuning. So, but then also you can see with the daily tuning that you're doing with yourself, mentally, even and spiritually, and other ways, then you're even more ready to go out into that world and not be traumatized by it, right? Because you've gotten yourself centered, you've gotten yourself remembering what's important to you, you've done your gratitude, you're back in a place of love with other people, right? When you're in that namaste awareness, life's a lot less traumatic, right? When you're out in the world thinking every person is your brother and your sister, which is really what we're talking about with yoga and this interbeing thing, like it or not. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. I realized with John is that sounds all beautiful, unity, union, right? But it's also kind of potentially traumatic, right? To realize that we are also connected. And so what's happening to other people does affect us. How other people are using their words and their energy and their actions. And then also, yeah, that we can start to really realize, this is another one that hit me more than ever, how much we have a power in who we are and how we're viewing others, and like what we're saying to them, what we're saying about them, what we're feeling and thinking and sending out, like, because we are also connected and it's all such energy. Like, we have such a power where we could be like, almost like casting a spell on someone with our words and our thoughts and our images that we think about them or feel about them, much less ourselves, right? So yeah, I hope you can just start to see with me why these tuning practices, whether it's the things we're doing with our bodies, like the poses, things like walking, dancing, anything that's going to help you tune into your body and tune up your body. And now we even know more that means not like tune up, like workout or get in shape, but tune you energetically and help you free up that stored trauma and even the daily trauma, and having your systems now to just deal with that so that you don't have to feel the weight of that, and so that you can actually feel good within that, right? Empowered within that, because you're doing your daily work to tune you. But also remember, it's that tuning in you get to do too, and that tuning into yourself, and that tuning into your heart and your soul and your truth and your God and your spirit and your sense of the universe. And even, yeah, that Einstein quote that's so important about deciding whether it's a friendly or hostile universe, like that's part of what we're doing with our yoga union, like whatever it takes for you to maybe redecide each day that it's a friendly universe would be like a goal of yoga, right? So yeah, so I just keep seeing more and more and more the power of what we're doing with these practices, perspectives, and psychology. Remember, it's all three. But, and then, yeah, why the dailiness and the personalizing it just is so actually important these days. And then, what's nice about it too is it's efficient too, because then you don't have to spend 3 hours a day trying to go after it, with the experience you're looking to have and feel. And now you can do it more in like 20 minutes. So that's really nice. And, that's part of what I have learned to do. And I'm happy to do that with you when you're ready, because yeah, for me, having added that just for myself over these it's probably been almost 10 years that I've been doing a personalized daily practice, but it's been an incredible difference. And then when I do go into group settings, I feel great. I'm ready for whatever they want to do with me. And I get a lot out of it in the content and the communion with community, right? And all of that. So nothing against that. But yeah, again, the more that you can bring it into your home self-care, your daily ways you're tuning you, and now you can see even more. You're doing like deep, energetic, emotional, therapeutic work with yourself with these things, whether it's with a few what you think of as just stretches, but remember to do it a lot more than stretch you, or your journaling, your time in nature, your use of sound, use of breath, right? Imagination, all the ways we can meditate, which is always about that reconnecting we get to do, right? And even the redirecting we get to do with our attention and our focus and our awareness, which are a lot of the foundational tools of yoga, really. Attention, awareness, how we're using those, how we're honing those, how we're choosing those, right? How we're growing our use of those. And sure, then it comes into the actions that help us get more into that attention, that awareness. So yeah, let's, embrace what we're learning about the interbeing of it all. And that, yes, that could be painful, but also we can feel powerful within that and just own it, and then, know that when we go out in the world, how we feel matters, because it's going to affect how we treat people, how we see the world, what kind of energy we're bringing to everything we do, and also just have us more resilient and clear to not be so traumatized by just daily life, right? Not be so burdened by other people's energy, and to also have ways we know we can free that stuff up and let that go when we do know that it's being felt. And even just the awareness of knowing more when we're feeling other people's energy, for instance, right, is going to help too. So yeah, I hope that's a helpful drop in for you, and super fun for me to share with you the learning and understanding that is happening for me along the way of this yoga union lifestyle. So thank you so much, and please reach out if there's any ways I can help you with your tuning practices, because that's what I look to do, is, help you build your toolbox of ways that you're tuning you, right? Alrighty. Love y'all, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.